Well, hello everybody. Well, they said it couldn't be done, but for all the exception of 4 feet of boards that I just ran out of because of all the fussy cuts that were required, and the older fussy cuts wouldn't fit the new fussy cuts. I only have 2 more to do, and then it will connect the 36-inch wide walkway all the way. You'll see that void right there. That's where the 32-inch elevated walkway started. And we are just going to fill in the gap. One side of the post, the south side of the post, will have 32-inch wide boards and no railing because you're only a couple of feet off the ground. And on this side of the last post that you see, it will have 36-inch wide with a railing. And the interesting thing is, when I put this whole thing together, you remember that it came out of the ground, and the holes in the ground contained the 4x4 posts. Well, I tried to follow that pattern as closely as I could, but we ran into some of those big cypress tree roots down there, which were almost, well, not almost, they were impossible to move around. So I had to move the posts a little bit north and south, not east and west. But when I put the joists up and started nailing the deck boards in, literally half of them fit the exact same holes, usually on the left-hand side. And I was only off by anywhere from 1/2 to 1 inch on the right-hand side. So measure 10 times, cut once. And I'm going to show you what's interesting is in earlier videos it looked like some of the posts were out of vertical. That's just not an optical illusion. They are just brought back into vertical when I start putting the deck boards on and the cross members underneath. So I'm going to do this and watch this. Bingo! They all line up perfectly. I couldn't be happier. I'll just slide it to the right a little bit, and there you go. And the same thing, I'll go on the left-hand side if I don't trip on the rocks over here. And for all intent and purposes, watch how they all line up. Yay, there was a god. A deck god. Hey, how about that? So, bottom line is, you can walk across this safely. It almost sounds funny because it pings when you walk across it. It's so tight and so cross-braced and basically not going anywhere that I started kind of laughing. It just has this real hard finish to it when you walk across it. There's no sway whatsoever, either left or right. And that's because each of the 4x4 posts is cross-membered with either a 2x4, that's the 3 middle sections, or a 1x3 with 3 long 3.5 or 3-inch screws into the 4x4 posts. And then where those 2 cross members meet, there is a 4x4 post section which holds the center section together so there isn't any cracking or breaking should it move at all. Who knows? You'll notice that the posts are all different heights. Those will be cut to 36 inches, 34 at the least, but 36 inches high, and then the railings will go up. And then the bridge will be done. So we are going to be adding those additional chains down below to the cypress knees. We'll be boring a hole through the bottom of those, and those are so solid. They're obviously impervious to water. So hopefully if this thing ever floods out again, the chains that we are going to be using, probably 6 sets of chains, 2 in the middle, 2 on either ends, should easily hold this thing in place. But so far so good. I'll give you a walk here, and you can see right there is one of the first fussy cuts. The posts could not be left and right in the same plane just because we found roots that just made it impossible to line up. I started that way, but it really doesn't matter. So that's why you see that one notched slightly differently than that one, but it's no great shakes. And here's another prime example of that. This big tree on the right-hand side that you see right there was in competition with some of the cypress roots underneath. So it's no big deal. I just left a big gap there and took the table saw and cut 2 sections in the middle. Those will shrink. That's brand new wood, by the way. And screwed it down in 3 places, and it worked. So now here's a temporary splice right here. This, as you can see, is just sitting in there. I've got Just simply ran out of pieces parts wood to fit that in, but that should be a pretty easy one to do. The post that you see here will actually go away. That is going to have a second post in that void right here, which then will absolutely match that post. And the reason we did that, again, when I got down below in the muck, I just kept hitting roots in it. The spike would not go through them. I tried digging them out. I was in about almost a foot of muck underneath, and it just got tiresome. So I said, the heck with this. So when that is cut flush with the joists, those two 2x6s will move over and fit perfectly in line, and they won't be notched at all. So that's just sitting here temporarily. And again, this is the 4x4 notch that will hold the 4x4 post that we are going to bolt with 4 lag bolts all the way through the joists, and that will marry nicely with this one here. Here's another spline that I had to use. This one did line up nicely, as you can see. I might take that out and put a little bit wider board just for cosmetic reasons, but hey, it's a bridge in the middle of nowhere. What do you want? So moving right along, here's another one that actually was able to line up quite nicely. And putting these deck boards with them pre-screwed just made all the difference in the world. So here we are, we're coming to the end of the 36-inch, and that's approximately 2 feet gap right here. So I will need 1, 2, 3, 4 2x6x8s cut, and hopefully that will line up. From here on out, this is where the elevated deck walkway was put in. And actually, I think it started back there with those 2 posts. I just don't recall. But memory, no, I take that back. And memory serves me right, it did start back there. But we decided I can put 36 inches, but we've got plenty of wood. And that tells me that this may have started here. So we don't need that elevated walkway. It is already about 10 inches higher than it was before. And it will marry very nicely with that section right there. So that's about it. I'll take some pictures. An absolutely beautiful day, and you can see I've got 2 additional ground spikes sitting over there with the posts that were absolutely wrenched right out of the ground by Irma, and the bolts were ripped right out. I couldn't believe it. They were ripped right out of a 4x4 post. So I'm going to turn around and give you a, actually I'm going to cross over here, and these are not nailed in, so I have to be a little careful. And there's the muck that we talked about. It's slowly but surely receding with the dry weather, and you can see these cypress knees here. That's what we are going to bore through on the bottom. They're about almost 2 feet wide, and they are absolutely impervious to water and insects and all that. So we're going to bore through those, put a chain through there, and then chain them, it's in several spots, to the 4x4 posts, not the joists, but the 4x4 posts. So that being said, here is the brand newly constituted, almost done bridge to Charlie Creek. Yay! So we're just about there. Probably another long weekend, maybe 2 weekends, but not much more than that. Once I cut the tops off, I'll put the caps on, and we will be done after the railings go in. All for now. Bye.